Here I have my friend and special guest, Michael Gibben, on. And today we're going to talk about 5 ways to remove anxiety from public speaking, since it's often more fearful than death. It's statistically more people fear public speaking than death. Um, just to introduce Michael really quickly, he is a certified coach and a teacher. He's got a background in education and business, and Michael uses his 15 plus year career now to lead anxious and introverted entrepreneurs, much like himself in the past, to find their path to success. He's a TEDx speaker and keynote presenter at global business events. And Michael's approach works with champions and entrepreneurs to overcome their mindset barriers and achieve their utmost business potential. How did I do, Michael? Welcome to my show.
Awesome. Thank you. No, that was great and a great intro. Great to be here. And thank you for having me here.
My pleasure, brother. My pleasure. Let's get right into the good stuff. Number one, we're talking about 5 ways. What is number one way, or if you want, why do people, tell me this first, why do people have so much anxiety and fear over public speaking?
Oh, that is a great question, James. It can go multiple directions. So I know for myself, a lot of it came from, being bullied
Sure.
and, a lot of oppression
Yep.
and that created a lot of inferiority complex and troubles with going up in front of people. Some of it though can just be that little bug that's telling you that you're not good enough to speak in front of people. It can be innate nerves. It can be so many different factors that play into it. It could be a pre-existing anxiety that just it amplifies when you're in front of people because you're facing your peers. You have to give an opinion. You have to share something, and there could be a variety of different stress factors that play into that.
Okay. I like that. And it's our past, right? It's often our past that plays into our present and future and can contaminates it, as I found, you found, and we both have been through a lot, and everyone's been through a lot, right? And it's interesting how there's a lot of similarities through differences. So what would you say, what's number one? What's the first way to remove anxiety and fear from public speaking?
Yeah, I think the first thing that is really important when you're doing public speaking and if you have anxiety about it is to be prepared and settled into creating an outline for your presentation. I know I do this myself, whether it's a 45-second presentation, 3 minutes, 30 minutes, I make sure that I have something ready to go and I highlight my key points. I'm a very visual person, so I highlight different colors, those key points, so I know exactly what's coming up. And to be able to become prepared for it, I have those talk points to go back to. So I find that works really well.
Good idea. Good idea. I like that. And to your point, if you don't know what you're saying, you're all over. Or if you get that anxiety or fear brain block, you're like, oh my God, what do I say? Then it's like, oh my, okay, just here, boom. Okay, here we go. And just go for it.
Yeah, chunking is, that's really the big thing, and I mean, I did that with my students when I was a teacher, and I do this now. He's like, you just chunk your presentation into smaller parts. It's less overwhelming for you, and that can be very beneficial when you're prepping, because that little anxiety monster is going to want to speak up, and you want to be like, okay, well, let's quiet that down and let's figure out a plan.
It's true. It's true. I like that. Thank you. Okay, cool. Number one. Number two now. Number two.
Yeah, so number two, again, it ties into that being prepared. So often we're very busy. A lot of us are really busy. We're on the go, and sometimes those presentations can escape us, and we're like, "Oh no, it's the day before, and I haven't even started looking at my notes yet."
Fair point.
And panic, and that's when that fear greater than death comes in. So taking the time for a larger presentation about 7 to 10 days beforehand, practice it once a day. And find when you're your most active. So be it first thing in the morning, or if you're more of a night owl, do it after work at night. Take the time to practice it once a day to get familiar. You don't want to become robotic and monotonous with it, but
just memorize too much.
Memorize too much, exactly. But you want to be able to practice it so you become familiar with it, you become comfortable with it. And that can reduce your anxiety because then your brain is becoming more familiar and wired to what your presentation is going to be about. And it takes only a matter of minutes every day.
Got it. So the practice and the be prepared. Cool. Okay. So that number three.
Okay. So the day of the presentation, you're going to be your mind's going to be on a lot of different things. What are people thinking? How are they doing? What's going on? And very often your anxiety can really creep in of what could go wrong during your presentation versus what could go right. So
Yep.
taking the time to visualize what's going to go right, take a few deep breaths before the presentation. Take those breaths to just get yourself refocused on, okay, I'm going in, I'm going to do this presentation. Visualize how great it's going to turn out, what you've done to prepare, how it's going to go, and just, again, focus on the impact you're going to make, the wonderful things you're going to do with it. And that's the best thing you can do for yourself, really, to get ready, is to focus on the positive and give yourself those deep breaths to just get yourself centered when you go in.
Fair. I like that. And to your point, where the future hasn't happened yet, the future is not here yet. What we have is now. So if we're going to make the future up anyways, we might as well make it up good. To your point, versus making up a crappy future, of course you're going to be anxious and fearful and nervous and stuff like that, right?
Well, absolutely. And I know for myself, like when I would go into that headspace, and once you get into that headspace, it's so easy to spiral. I know. And the anxiety.
Life will going to end as we know it.
and then, because I would find even just doing a 45-second presentation, if my anxiety was overruling, taking those breaths and getting focused, I would go in, I would be, dry mouth and the sweats, and you start to forget things, and you get really nervous, and your legs start to shake, and your face flushes, and those are all, and then you think people can see all those things, which they can, but they're polite usually. They're not going to point it out, but then it amplifies, right? So it's just getting yourself into that calm state of mind and picturing a successful presentation can really help. And as a bonus to that, something that you can also do is have an affirmation object with you. So for myself, my wedding ring is mine. So if I'm doing a presentation, I don't do it a lot, because you don't want to be holding on to your affirmation object the whole time. But I'll just do this once or twice during a presentation. Just quickly, subtly, gets me refocused and gets me back on track.
I love that. I have a power ring too. So this is similar but different to anchoring in NLP, where you can literally touch a knuckle or a body part and triggers a powerful place. I like that. An affirmation, not anchor, you called it affirmation object, you called it?
Yeah, exactly.
Very
but it can
cool.
be an anchor as well. That's also a great term for it.
Interesting. And this is neat. This is similar, different to the NLP anchoring. So this is something that you do affirmations with it on, or something that it's just so, again, a wedding ring, something so emotionally powerful and charged up anyways, or maybe it's like a teddy bear. Can't take a teddy bear in. Well, I guess you could take a teddy bear into a talk, but like a ring, something covert, like a ring or a pocket watch or something in your pocket, or something you have as well.
You got it.
Very cool. Very cool. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Very cool. Very cool. Amazing. So we have number 3. What's number 4 now? Moving on. Number 4.
So this is this part here can happen to a lot of people. It happened to myself. It has happened in the past. Is focus on your topic and remember the first sentence. The rest will follow. I went into TEDx last fall, and I had practiced. And I remember the day of, a little nervous, and we were on a short break before going up to do the next set of talks, and I forgot my presentation. I was the next speaker. It just poof, gone, went into the ether, and I was like, oh no. And just took that technique of just try to remember the first sentence. This presentation, Michael, you got this. And so just recalling that first sentence, and everything just flowed from there. So it's a recall activity to really take that first sentence and just practice that, and the rest will come together. So if you're ever you're in doubt or feeling overwhelmed about, will I remember, can I remember, it's not going to work for me, have that first sentence in place, and the rest will come together for you.
I like that. Remember the first sentence and the rest will come together. I like that. Remember the first and the rest will follow. I love that. That's so powerful. And because people, I think the biggest fear is, what if I forget my lines? What if I say the wrong thing? What if I don't know what to say? Well, just start. Just say something. Just start. And again, I often tell people, worst comes to worst, if you completely forget everything, just be open, be vulnerable, be honest with people, and you'll connect with them more. I'm excited to give this talk. A little nervous too, because you're a great audience, and you're an important audience, and this is a very important talk to me. Whatever, be a little vulnerable. When in doubt, open up a bit, and I think people will connect with people as well. And but I love that. Just remember the first sentence.
And James, I like what you just said as well about being vulnerable with your audience. And that's, yeah, the vulnerability, it shows an authenticity and it
Yes.
shows an open moment with your audience. That wins your audience over. Because if you close off and you go, oh gosh, I don't remember my line, I don't remember my lines. Well, now you've created a bit of an island for yourself. But if you own it and you go on stage and you're like, before we start, I just want to share this. I'm really excited to be here today. And thank you. It gives you that 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds to reframe and refocus. And also something as well, when you're feeling that pressure of, I got to remember a 20-minute presentation or a 30-minute presentation or whatever it is, you can always go off the script. Don't feel the pressure of your anxiety. Say, you got to be perfect. You got to remember everything. It's okay to go off the script a little bit, so to speak, because you can always weave back. And that's where highlighting your key points can be really helpful. So you can go back to the main point. But if you decide to take a zig instead of a zag, you're okay.
Unfair. I guess it's different from the programming we learn in school. It's about you having to be perfect and get the best mark or perfect mark versus a talk. It can ebb and flow. And if you're perfect and not connecting to your audience, well, that's a useless talk. No one's going to like it. No one's going to get value or buy from you. Versus if you're raw and real, authentic, imperfect, which we all are anyways, aim to be great. Please avoid aiming to be perfect. There's no such thing. Aim for excellence and aim for greatness. Absolutely. But within that, and I'm sure you'd agree, there is flow. There is flow, and a presentation can ebb and flow and weave, especially people with certain questions. Oh, that's interesting. A lot of people are interested in this. Maybe I'll flow or ebb and flow in that direction because it seems like that's important to them.
Absolutely. And that's exactly it. I love what you said about the ebb and flow there, James. Like we need to be able to, go with the flow in a presentation. And as whatever profession you're in, whether it's teaching, consulting, whatever you're doing, acting, you're going to go off script from time to time. Nobody's going to have that perfect robotic flow because you lose your audience because people have difficulty relating to perfection. They strive for it, but not everybody, but a lot of people strive for perfection, but you want to strive for progress, and people don't want to see perfect.
Yeah, relatability, and have the other F word, have fun. The other F word people seem to hate to use these days.
Not the other F word. that can send it downhill.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just have some freaking fun, and enjoy it, and they'll have fun with you. And to your point, aim to connect with them, and everything's going to flow. Everything's going to go well. They're going to like it. You connect and authentic versus, I can be perfect and no one can see that I'm not perfect, or no one can know the real me, or I'm so great. All this BS these days. Just be real. Be raw with people. Be real. Aim to serve them. Make it about them versus make it all about me. What if they like me? Are they going to like me? Am I forget my lines? Is this going to be good? Are they going to buy from me after? Are they going to promote me up? Just you're making it all about you. Stop making it all about them. I find is some of the best I give as well. And whether it's sales or speaking or connection or coaching or teaching or leadership or anything.
Absolutely. Love it.
Yeah. Beautiful. So we have one more of your powerful points, powerful keys. What's the last one?
So the last one is to have, when you have your audience, whether it's 10 people, 1,000 people, it can be very overwhelming. And, like we talked about, that anxiety can peak up of, oh, these people are going to, they're going to mock you if you don't get it perfect, or, oh, these people aren't going to trust you. They don't like you, or, oh, they're all watching you. All eyes are on you. I found a strategy that has worked over the years is focus your purview, just focus on a few parts of the audience. Not saying ignore 95% of your audience, but focus on a few key sections of your audience. Have a pattern going of where you're focusing your eyes, and so it's not to overwhelm your purview, and you can really give your attention to that, so it's less overwhelming because you're still giving attention to your audience, but you're focusing on a smaller subset each time, and that can really reduce the anxiety because it's not so overwhelming. And you're also connecting with members of the audience. You're looking at them, they're looking at you, you're engaging certain members, and that's going to really, reduce that anxiety because it's not a blanket presentation.
Wow, look at all these people. Exactly.
So that's a great step as well, because you can really you can take the time to again have that deeper connection with your audience because you're focusing on specific subsets each time. And for yourself, it's more natural, more free. It again reduces that stress.
Yeah, and you're actually connecting to people versus the audience. You're actually connecting, talking to people, as I say, versus talking at them. Talk to them, not at them. And so I always talk that to teach people that in terms of just being able to connect with people. But I love how you said it'll also reduce anxiety because we're just having a conversation with a few people at a time here, versus talking to the all of everyone and completely disconnecting from your audience because you're just talking to an audience. And whoever gave the advice, if you're nervous, just stare at the back wall. Holy crap, what a boring friggin' presentation, and not connecting to anyone at all by staring at the back wall, just talking at not even people now, talking at the wall. What horrible advice. Just, I mean, sure, if you want to picture them all naked, great, but just avoid staring at the back wall and talking to the back wall. Please avoid doing that. That you'll have no connection at all with the audience. I love how you said this, Michael. Reduces anxiety, and again, to our point, it helps connect with the audience.
Yeah, and I think as well, though, just kind of going with what you said. Yeah, you don't want to be staring at the back wall, not paying attention to anybody in your audience. But as a baby step, if you really are feeling that overwhelm of even just connecting with certain smaller subsets, looking and again, as you grow, you want to get out of this phase, but just looking just above everyone's hairline. So you're still looking at your audience, but you're not looking. It's not the greatest. It's not optimal, but it's a start if you're feeling
overwhelmed. You have to do that.
Exactly. If you have to do that, then move into looking at the subsets, because you, again, like you said, you want to have eye contact with people. You want to be connecting. And again, that's where you're making it. It's not me, it's we, and you're creating a community, and you're generating buzz in the room. And that's a hallmark of a really effective speaker. If you're creating a buzz and generating spark in that room, then that's exciting. And like you said as well, just go with the flow and see where it takes you, because some of the best pieces of speeches are ones where it's not something you're initially thinking of, or a slight off the cuff remark for 10 seconds or whatever.
Dynamic.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone says something and that's and everyone's like, yeah, tell us about that. And it leads in a different direction. I love that. I love that. How can people, and we're going to do another way, we'll have to do part 2, the second 5 tips or something. How can people reach you, Michael? How can people reach you for mentoring, coaching on, public speaking, fear, anxiety, things like that?
But sure thing. So they can go to my website, www.michaelgibben.com, or shoot me an email at michaelgibben@gmail.com. I'm also on LinkedIn as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Michael Gibben, Gibben, LinkedIn, Facebook, your website. And do you have a YouTube channel at all yet?
Yes, I do. Same thing. So yeah, Michael Gibben.
Michael Gibben, YouTube. Perfect. Excellent. Well, amazing. Thanks for helping me do what I love. Thanks for being on my show, giving value to people. I'll have to have you back for a part 2. And I encourage everyone, comment below what are your biggest fears when it comes to speaking, and what are some of the biggest hacks, advice, tips you do to get over it.
Perfect. And thank you, James, for having me on as a guest today. And yes, please comment below on what your journey has been with public speaking anxiety, tips that have worked for you, and just some of your success stories and areas you want to overcome.
Right on, brother. Right on. Amazing. Everyone, have your best day.